Welcome on to the show tonight, guys. This is Studio 321. This is Eddie B. So I want you to watch this clip. I'm going to put it on for you in just a second. This is the summary, the nutshell of everything that is wrong with our American culture, our justice system, and our criminal, I don't know what you call it, sympathy, our sympathy problem in this country. So check this out.
They're child traffickers. They're bringing drugs into this country.
They are still human beings.
So you don't care if they're the worst criminal in the world and they have and murdered children. They're okay and they're still human beings and they should be here?
I believe that they are human beings and that they deserve dignity just as everybody else.
You think child deserve dignity?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do.
Okay, so I had to watch that video like 5 times, okay, and it made my blood boil. I can't stand people like this. I call them the blue hairs. That's what I always call them. I'm like, avoid the blue hairs because they have no sense. But here's the thing. That is a typical liberal white woman in America. Clueless about everything, angry about everything, has no common sense, right? Just running around spewing a bunch of nonsense. But there's a bunch of them, so they have a say so. I mean, you can't help it when that's part of your voters. So here's the thing. I always wondered, and I'm sure a lot of people wonder, like, who's behind all this weird stuff, letting criminals go and all this crybaby stuff about, they're not gang members, they're not bad people, they're this. They're like normal people, we don't subscribe to that. We're basically like, look, you're good or you're bad. If you're good, live your life, do your thing. If you're bad, get away from me. If you're a criminal, go to jail. People like this are the reason we always have that fight. Because you've got areas in this country where that's the majority of your voters, right? So anybody who wants to represent them is going to have to subscribe to all of that nonsense. And it's complete nonsense. And think about this, right? I see them as being as bad as the criminal. They're not good people because they're nuts, all right? And think about this. If you're in a room with somebody and you're allowing them to hurt somebody else, aren't you partly responsible for that? I mean, take away the fact that, maybe you're not a physical person or confrontational, but let's say you're just letting it go on, over time. Aren't you partially responsible for that? You are. So people like her are the same way. They're partially responsible for that because complacency like that ends up helping these criminals, okay? And I feel like they're just, because look, at least the criminals are nuts. Some of them don't know any better. But some people somebody's always supposed to stand up and say, hey man, cut that out or call the law or deal with it or something. But people, these liberals, man, it's just, they're so far gone with that live and let live crap. And look, I'm a live and let live kind of guy. Like, don't bother me. I won't bother you. You live your life. I'll live my life. Don't mess with my family. I won't mess with your family. Don't hurt anybody. I won't hurt anybody. Let's just exist. We don't even have to like each other. We just coexist. And that's how society is built, right? We make friends. We have associates. Some people we don't like, but we tolerate each other. No problem. But according to this lady, everything should be tolerated. Sex trafficking, rapists, pedophiles, those people don't deserve any dignity. They're lucky they have people like her because people like me would put them on their knees and have them killed. Okay? That's what would happen if people like me were in charge and didn't have to deal with people like her. Okay? Saving all these people. Because look, it's real simple. There's a lot of people in this country, and in a lot of countries, right? I mean, we all have neighbors. We all have to coexist with each other. There's kind of like unwritten rules, and then there's your laws, right? unwritten cultural rules like don't mess with each other, you know, don't mess with my girlfriend, don't mess with my wife, don't, you know, there's just like don't let your dog crap on someone's lawn. Like, you know, look, there's just all kinds of laws out there culturally. They're unwritten, but, you know, we abide by them. And then you have the laws that are written, which will get you in trouble. Okay? If people constantly break those laws, either type, the cultural laws or the regular laws, it causes major disturbances. Like, even in a neighborhood, man, you can't function. If you got 10 close houses, right, and one neighbor in that group of 10 is a constant problem, whether they're picking fights, you know, being a jerk, driving too fast through the neighborhood, almost running kids over, selling drugs, whatever they're doing, right? It's disturbing to the entire neighborhood. So that person has to be dealt with. Well, what do you do? Do you let that person continue so that everybody else around them has to suffer? See, I see people like her, and I think either one, they really are nuts, or number two, they've never had any type of negativity in their life, any type of conflict like that to understand. Because let me tell you something. Once a liberal gets robbed a couple times, they become a conservative. They do. You see it happen all the time, you know, or they get jumped, or something happens to them and they realize, oh man, all of a sudden now they support guns, or somebody breaks in their house and robs them and puts their family at risk. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, yeah, I do support guns now. Yeah, no kidding, because you have to protect yourself from the bad people. But anyways, man, you know, it's insane that we have to deal with people like this, you know, and that is the extreme of the left. You know, every party has its extremes. You know, the right has their extremes as well. But the blue hairs, they're the extreme on the left, man, and they're totally wacky. Okay? And what should happen is the Democrats need to kind of, you know, beat them back into the darkness, man. And, you know, and not like, you know, I'm talking about just basically they need to push them away and say, look, you don't run this party. You ain't the voice of this party. We run this party, because those are the people running the party right now. And it has completely destroyed the Democrat Party. It really has. You know, they're the majority of that party. And that's where you're getting all this like sympathy for MS-13 people and trying to cover up the fact that people are gangbangers and letting rapists out of prison early. And, you know, it's like, oh my God, man, what's wrong with you people? But that right there, what you just saw, that's what's wrong. That's the problem. But anyways, guys, I hope you liked my video. This is Eddie from Studio 321. Talk to you soon. Have a good night.